Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be unboxing and reviewing the Possway T2 electric skateboard 2022 version. At only $469.99 at the moment, this board looks to be a super promising budget electric skateboard option. So getting straight into the unboxing, the first thing on top of the box is the actual electric skateboard itself. Underneath the electric skateboard is a little box containing all of the accessories included with the Possway. These accessories include a Y tool with Allen keys for repairing your board, the remote controller for the Possway, a standard T-tool for adjusting the tightness of your bushings on your trucks, the charger, which is a very standard charger you'll see across a lot of these budget electric skateboards. It's made for the 10S battery on the board and is a 2 amp charger, which is the standard rate that these boards charge at. It also comes with an instruction manual for setting up the board and any issues you might encounter with it. And then finally, there's the charger for the remote, which is a micro USB. With the unboxing done, now let's get into the components used on the Possway T2. Starting with the deck is 37.2 inches long and 9.3 inches wide. It's made from 1 ply of bamboo and 8 ply of Canadian maple. There's a micro drop on the deck which adds a sense of stability while riding and makes you feel lower to the ground, and there's also a moderate concave on the board to keep you locked in. The deck is symmetrical and both the tail and the nose are squared off, giving the Possway T2 a unique look. The grip tape is your standard grip tape and is branded with the Possway logos, which I don't think looks overbearing or bad at all like you see on some of the other budget boards. The wheels are pretty standard looking Possway branded ABEC flywheel clones. They're 90mm in diameter with a 54mm contact patch and are 83A in durometer. The trucks are very standard looking trucks. They're 7 inches wide and feature a 45-degree base plate. Other than that, I couldn't find too much other information on them. The rear truck features the dual hub motors on the back, which are both 1000 watts. These are some of the more powerful hub motors in terms of their wattage rating that I've seen on these budget boards. This deck has 2 separate enclosures, a front one containing a battery and a rear one containing the ESC and the receiver. There are then wires that pass through the top of the deck to connect the two. As I mentioned, the front enclosure houses the battery, which is a 10S3P battery made from 18650 lithium-ion battery cells. It's 280.8 watt-hours, which is around the size you'd expect for a board in this price range. The charge port is located on the top of the battery and protected by a rubber cap, which is a nice touch. I really love the aesthetic of these battery enclosures and I think they look super sleek. They're also just well contained, and they sell spare batteries on their website, so you can basically just swap the batteries out and keep riding. The ESC that they are using on this board is what they call the Precise ESC or the Pest ESC 2.0. The rear enclosure also features a heatsink which is mounted to that ESC for better performance. There's also a nice rubberized power switch on that rear enclosure with a battery indicator directly below it. The rear enclosure is also quite sleek looking in my opinion, and it's super easy to take on and off to service your ESC in the event that you'd need to. Overall, I think the Possway T2 is an extremely clean looking and good looking board, and it looks like it has some pretty good components. The slick enclosure design, the 10S3P battery, and the dual 1000 watt hub motors are all super great features that I like about this board. So now that I've gone over all of the components used on the Possway T2 2022 version, I'm going to jump into a full in-depth review of this board. As with all of our other review videos, this video will be split up into categories featuring all of the various specs of this board. We're going to start with top speed, then range, then hill climbing, then acceleration and braking, miscellaneous, and then we'll do a final conclusion wrap up of what we think of this board. So the first thing that we have up is the top speed, and according to Possway, the top speed on this board is 29 miles per hour or 47 kilometers an hour. Now we had some discrepancies with the actual top speed of this board during our top speed test. According to the remote controller on the board, we topped out at 41 kilometers an hour. However, according to our GPS-based app on our phone, the top speed was 29.5 miles per hour, which is right around the top speed that is advertised. So I'm not sure if the remote's not calibrated or if the GPS was inaccurate, but either way, the speed on this board is 25 plus miles an hour reliably. Next up, we have the range, and according to Possway, the advertised range on this board is 30 kilometers or right around 18 miles. I think this is a little bit exaggerated, as it is with all electric skateboard companies, just because range depends on so many different factors. Realistically, you'll probably get anywhere from around 12 to 16 miles on this board depending on how aggressively you're riding, the terrain, the weather, and the weight of the rider. Third up, we have the hill climbing ability of the board. And being a dual hub motor budget electric skateboard, the hill climbing of this board obviously isn't great. However, for what it is, I think that these dual 1000 watt hub motors are actually pretty powerful, and I've been decently impressed with the hill climbing ability on the Possway T2. If you're looking for an electric skateboard that is great for climbing hills, this is definitely not the board for you. However, if you're set on having a set of hub motors and you don't care too much about hill climbing ability, this is a solid option. It'll still make it up most of the hills that you throw at it on a daily basis, it just won't do it as fast as some of the other electric skateboards out there. The fourth subject that we have is the acceleration and braking on the board. And being a hub motor electric skateboard, the acceleration and the braking on this board are not super crazy strong. You can fully throttle the board in pro mode or fully brake the board in the maximum brake mode, and you won't get thrown off the board. If you're an advanced rider, this definitely isn't going to be a great option for you. However, the acceleration and braking are super strong and reliable for any beginners out there. I've been really impressed with the acceleration and braking curves on this board. Super comfortable and intuitive to ride, and I definitely recommend this board for a beginner because of that. Another feature on this board that contributes to the good acceleration and braking is the fact that you can independently set braking and acceleration modes. There are 4 acceleration modes and 4 braking modes, so if you're more confident on the throttle than on the brake, you can customize the remote and the acceleration of the board to your exact feeling. The board also comes with some other standard features, including a reverse mode so you can ride your board backwards, and then it also comes with a cruise control, which is a nice touch. The fifth category that I have up is the ride feeling of the board, and I actually really love the way that the Possway T2 feels. I originally thought this board would be super flexy because it has split enclosures, however this deck is actually quite stiff. This stiffness, added with the micro drops and the moderate concave on this deck, make me feel locked in and safe while riding this board at high speeds. If you're looking for a fast budget electric skateboard, I definitely think that the Possway T2 is a solid option just because not only is it fast, but it's also stable at those high speeds thanks to the stiff deck. However, the stiff deck does have some drawbacks because when coupled with the hub motors, this board isn't super smooth on rough terrain. The smoothness of this board on rough roads is probably one of my biggest complaints about the board, just because I would have rather sacrificed some of that stiffness and stability for some flex and comfort on the board. Overall though, the actual shape of the deck, the acceleration and braking, and how it feels are very good when riding on roads that aren't too bumpy or bad, and I really like the feeling of the Possway in that respect. It's just that I have to be careful when I'm riding on roads that aren't well paved. And now moving into the miscellaneous section, and this is probably the biggest miscellaneous section that I'll ever make in a video, and that's just because I've had so many problems with the Possway. While this board's been working, it's probably been my favorite board for under $500, however, it honestly hasn't been working all that much for me. After around 6 weeks of riding this board pretty much every single day, I started having some issues with it. The first thing that happened was that the board just shut off while riding and I couldn't turn it back on unless I unplugged and replugged the battery. This would happen every 5 or so miles. I ended up reaching out to Possway and they were extremely helpful with the matter. They replied to me within a matter of hours and sent out some new parts almost immediately. They sent me a replacement ESC and a replacement hub motor. I installed those and the board was back up and running. And then about 1 week after that happened, the board would just die after about 3 to 5 miles. So at that point I knew there was something wrong with the battery as well. So I reached out to them again, and once again they were super helpful. They sent me a new battery and I installed that. And then the board was working extremely well for around another month. During that time, I was able to shoot this entire review and edit it, and I thought that all of the issues with the Possway were behind me. However, the board has shut off once again and won't turn back on, and I'm not sure what the issue is this time. I've contacted Possway and that's currently being sorted through as I finish editing up this video. I'm really not sure what's been going on with this board. if it's a pre-production model or if I just got super unlucky with the T2 that they sent me. I want to reiterate that while this board is working, it's probably been my favorite and the best budget electric skateboard under $500 that I've tried. However, I just can't tell you guys honestly that it's been the most reliable board for me. So to conclude this video, my review of the Possway T2 2022 version electric skateboard is very mixed. If I didn't have any issues with this board in terms of it basically just breaking on me, I'd say this is probably one of the best electric skateboards that you can buy at the moment for under $500. The specs on the board are great for a hub motor budget electric skateboard, and it honestly does feel like a quality and very well built product. I honestly have no idea why the board keeps breaking on me, and for that reason, I can't endorse this product quite yet until I figure out what's going on and if there's a reason why this has been happening to my particular board. If you're a beginner and you're looking for your first electric skateboard, I have to say that I've really enjoyed riding this board while it's worked, and it's been a whole lot of fun. All of the other reviews I've seen for this board online also seem to be super positive. From my experience, I would just say buy your own risk. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, let us know in the comments section below. If you guys are interested in learning more about the Possway T2 2022 version, we will leave a link in the description as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, let us know by liking and subscribing to this channel for lots of other electric skateboard reviews, DIY electric skateboard builds, and electric vehicle content. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you guys in the next one.